That's what I like to do. That's why I
There
keep
we go. Let's
There you
go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Yeah, welcome everybody to podcast 91, where it's going to be titled Random Questions with Rick and RJ. So once a month, Rick and RJ like to ask each other some random questions and also have a random rant.
Random.
Random.
Yep. Hey, before we get started, RJ, let me give a shout out to our vodcast sponsor. Okay?
Okay.
Foam Insulation Manitoba, the ultimate insulation solution for energy efficient homes and commercial buildings, always installed by a licensed team member. By using spray foam insulation, you're committing to an energy efficient structure and saving on expensive energy bills. This product is airtight, fireproof, mold, and thermal resistant. It will always lower your energy costs, adds structural strength, provides a vapor barrier. It doesn't require a replacement and is effective in basements, attics, floors, and roofs. Call 204-813-9405 to book your free service request.
So Rick, yesterday I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling through my feed and I see a layout, right? I think the government likes to, and sorry, we're going to go into the vid talk, okay?
Yeah.
So the government likes to play with us a little bit. So first they'll put out like a survey. You know, what do you want to see open? Like, why do you ask that question if it doesn't make a difference,
Yeah.
right? Remember that survey that
I
got
do.
sent out?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, what do you want to see open? So now they put out a proposal of who's getting the vaccine. And I didn't really care, but it stopped me for a second. I was like, well, let's see who gets it first. And obviously the assumption is that the frontliners would get it because they're at the high risk. And if you're at high risk, you want to be able to go into your work and not spread it, right? So like you're more likely going to contract it and you're more likely to spread it to already sick people. So I get it, right? So they have the frontliners. Basically, they laid it out every month. Okay, so I think frontliners 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be within the first 3 to 4 months. Okay, then they're going to people that work in healthcare facilities, so like nursing homes and that kind of stuff. So they're going to be second in line after frontliners. So they're going them two, like they have them categorized into two different categories. So they're going that. So that's 6 months, 7 months ish down the road. Then they go down to age. And so they're starting with the 80-year-olds. And literally every month they're rolling out a new age. So 80, 70, 60, 50, the 40-year-olds, which is basically our population. So between 40 and 49, they're expected to see a vaccine. So this is just their template, right? And obviously templates always get pushed back, right?
Always,
When
yeah.
have they ever been on time with things? And so if you're between the age of 40 and 49, and again, this is just something I saw on somebody's feed. Okay, I didn't really look into it. So if anybody out there has a higher knowledge of us, please join us here on the podcast. Okay, so 40 to 49 is expected to see it late December, potentially early January.
The whole year from now.
So a whole year from now.
Yeah.
And then if you're 30 and under, you're not going to see it until like the middle of next year. So my question is, if this is the case, if they, the ones that are putting out the rules, and I've been pretty calm about it, but things are starting to fire me up the longer that they hold back stuff, right? And there's always the double standard, and I think that we should get into that as well. So if they feel like people between the ages of 40 and 49 and 30 and under, or 30, 39 and 30 and under, are not going to see a vaccine until early next year, maybe mid next year. If they feel that they are at the least risk, then why don't they give those people the most amount of flexibility? And so my problem is okay, either give the most flexibility or just make everybody equal. Like that's what we want on this earth, right? Equality.
Yeah.
So it's like just either open everything up and just, like let it run its course kind of thing, or you say, okay, well, this is our policies. So if you're going to get the vaccine last, you're least risk, feel free to travel without having to get a vaccine.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hypocrisy at its finest, of course, right? I mean, if you're going to, this whole blanket lock everybody down, it doesn't work. I don't care what anybody says, it doesn't work. We know that there's at-risk people, at-risk categories or age groups, and at risk with respect to their own personal health and the strength of their own immune system. Shutting everybody down like us has been pointless. only because what is the point of creating more problems on the backside, right? Like like I said before, the problem or the solution is worse than the problem. So most of us aren't going to get sick. In fact, it's already proven, almost 100%, 99.9 something aren't going to, or even if we get it, we're not going to die from it. Yeah. Most of us aren't even going to get sick from it. We know that the elderly, the over 60s are the ones that are passing away. They're the ones getting sick, and they're the ones who, in their personal care environments, they're the ones that are kind of where it runs rampant, right? So yes, why? I guess it boils down to this. Well, why didn't we just lock down all of the elderly people and leave everybody who's just say under 40 or whatever work?
Right.
Keep the economy going. I feel like that would have been the right thing to do. Now, of course, the argument is going to be, well, you can't just lock down the old people.
Yeah.
Right. Because that would be rude. That's human. That goes against human rights. That's not healthy for them. Nobody's allowed to see them. But at the end of the day, isn't that kind of what it was anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So if we truly, truly cared about this pandemic that is going to wipe out the planet, there's lots of things that should have been done, right? We should have quarantined the older people. We certainly should not have had the big box stores where we have 300, 400, 500 people still shopping. Yeah. It was only because of pushback that they finally shut down the non-essentials, because we all know people were out there.
Yes.
And just this last weekend, as we loosened the restrictions, I know we went to the mall because we wanted to do some mall walking, and lots of people, lineups everywhere.
Yeah,
lineups.
I'll tell you this, I went to the mall as well myself. I went and bought a new coat. Felt fantastic. I was in the mall and it felt like Christmas to me. So I'll tell you this much: having that somewhat of a normal, I enjoyed them taking away a little bit of just being locked down and shutting things down. I enjoyed it because it was a change, right? It was a brief moment in time where we all had to just sit back and see what happens. But I think at this point, like you said, like when they shut everything down, honestly, I was watching the numbers. Every week, the numbers would rise. In fact, when they did the shutdowns, the numbers rose from, I remember the stats because I sent it to you, 4,300, and they shot all the way up to 6,300 within like 10 days of shutdowns. Yeah. So I get it. It takes time to get these results and this and that, but the numbers did not change.
No.
And so to me, like if the vaccine's not going to come out for another 12 to 18 months for everybody that's, under 50, what is the plan?
What is the plan?
Like, what do you plan for us? So if you're playing puppeteer to everybody that's, like sitting around waiting for this vaccine, and then you're going to shut everything down. Well, what is the plan?
Yeah. And they'll say things like, well, if you hadn't locked down, wore masks, shut down most small businesses, then it would have been worse, right? But that's just what they're always going to say. Yeah. They're always going to say that. Just like now, we're going to have reduced numbers. We're going to have reduced numbers, and people are like us are going to say, "Well, we want to open up," and then other people are going to say, "Well, we just got it to zero. Why open up?" And then it grows up again. Well, when is the number? When
is the right time?
There's always going to be a potential for something, right?
Well, and that was one of the things that Russin said is like, but then we're back to October. Like, why are we going to open these things up? Well, it's like, how do you determine what you should open up and what you shouldn't? And a good question is like, well, what's important to those guys? That's what's getting open. It's just like if you live on the same street as a politician, your snow is going to get shoveled, right? So it's like, who's determining these things? And I honestly, I thought the lockdown was like, again, for personal reasons, I grew out of it. But for society, I think that it doesn't work, man. And they just need to stop. Or what they need to do, if they expect these businesses to continue to survive after whatever they decide it's like, so gyms, restaurants, like everything that's closed, they need to just then give money ahead of time. Because if you kept us closed if you open up other businesses, then you need to pay these guys, or you just need to tell them, hey, listen, like there's no chance in hell we're just going to wipe out your debt and just close your business, because there's no point, right? Like versus I know a lot of business owners that are going through a lot of anxiety right now, and these $5,000 bridge grants, like they're bridging nothing. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't even cover my payroll.
Scraps.
Yeah. And so they, and I don't want, I'd rather not take any money and just be open. And do that way, right? Or you need to pay me for what exactly I need. And I think that this is the structure that they need to set it up. So if they're going to continue, for instance, gyms, restaurants, right? The businesses that have been closed, they're supposed to be providing support until June. Now that can't be a hard start stop date for all businesses moving forward now because of the fact, and I'm not trying to put any of these other businesses under the bus, but even if we were open at 25% capacity, that's 25% more customers that we would have through the door. That's a significant income jump. We actually would double our memberships because instead of just charging for virtuals, we charge for in-person as well. That gives us 50% more revenue per customer. That's a significant jump. And I would rather not be open at 25% capacity with masks. I would rather they didn't, but I get it. You're not going to be able to get everything that you want. And so if this June is like the hard stop date for the support, I think that you need to look at the businesses that you've kept shut down longer and support them longer.
And it's also a spinoff too. Like, so my business, the embroidery business. So as all these businesses are shut down, they're not spending money on anything other than absolute necessities. Like, you're right, they're going through anxiety because they don't know. They don't know. I mean, they got to pay their staff, they got to pay their rent, they might have to fuel up their vehicles if that's what they're doing, but they're certainly not buying embroidered hats. So even if all these businesses, like you say, well, Rick, well, you're not shut down. Well, no, I guess I'm not. But at the end of the day, who's buying what I'm selling? Because you're shutting everybody else down, right? Now, thankfully, that there are some industries that are still crushing it. Small restaurants are doing okay. Ones that have big overhead aren't. Construction seems to be doing pretty well. Although
renovations,
Although right now there's a lot of issues with getting guys to work because of
make more in COVID.
They make more when they're not working, right? So it's always a battle. It's always a challenge. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I personally disagree with probably 80% of the way things went down. I'm super frustrated with the fact that we have all been, that the media and everybody is suggesting that as long as you wear a mask, you're going to be okay. I think the message has to get back to you have to take some personal responsibility for your fitness, for your own health and well-being. You have to drop body fat. You have to stop consuming toxins, alcohol, and bad food. And you know what? Stuff like this isn't going to affect you so badly. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to the elderly, elderly, I don't have an opinion, but you know what? You can still take care of yourself even at an older age.
I agree. And what classifies as an elderly? Because we have people that are
That's a great question.
Into their 60s. And
great question.
Like, you would never know, but some people would classify them as an elderly because of their age.
Like, so, I hate saying the word because you do. And I know, like, my mom, she's elderly. She's pushing 70 years old. But my mom's killing it, man. Like, she walks every day. She works out. She's super healthy. You know? So I know, and anytime I say, like, I call her an old broad or something like that just to bust her balls. And she's like, shut the hell up. I'm young. And they are. But unfortunately, you're going to always have the people who, kind of not necessarily ruin it for some, but, you're just going to have the overly sick, older people who are going to make it look like all elderly people are vulnerable.
Right. And so I've done some research because, with this whole COVID thing, I wanted to learn about how do you boost your immune system? Like, how do you prevent getting a cold? I've also looked up, like, how do you beat cancer naturally? Like, I know that there's medicine and chemo and all that, but I was like, how do you beat it naturally? There's got to be a way. Like, I'm always a mindset that I can fight something like by myself, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what the number one thing is, Rick?
To what?
To not get sick, to beat cancer. Like,
I'll take a shot at it. I would say diet. Vegetables.
Exercise. Exercise. That's the number one thing. And so
we're essential. So why are you closing
we
us?
We are 100% essential, and I don't think that you should be limiting everybody as well. But I don't want to get into a debate of who's essential, who's not essential, because I'm happy for the businesses that are opening, and I truly mean that. Like, I have no remorse for anybody that's open. I think I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but at the same time, like, okay, you've tried your method of lockdowns and they didn't work, and somebody on my feed said lock everybody up. Then lock us all up. That's what you need to do. You need to lock us all up or open us all up, because this is just nuts already. It didn't work. Something new, please. Let's go.
Absolutely. But hopefully this is although, you know what, I don't know, man. I always like to be in the midst of pods and be like, oh, hopefully it's coming to an end, but I really don't know. These 2-week increments that they keep throwing at us, because there's always cases. There was 95 cases yesterday. There was 100 plus the day before, 100 plus before, 90 something. So then it's not going away. It's never going to go away.
No.
So if you're always going to have
wearing masks, the vaccine's out.
Yep.
right?
So what else?
We were shut down.
Yeah. So you know what I think? I think the answer is let people get back to the gym. Let them get healthy.
Yeah.
That's what I
Let
think.
them make it mandatory that, hey, you got to work out. It's mandatory part of your day. You got to do a 30-minute workout. Otherwise, you're taking a $1,200 fine.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that, Rick? So also this travel stuff, right? Which it didn't really bother me until I saw it's happening in the U.S. And then I realized that us Canadians are doing it anyways. So if you come to Canada, so our good friend Grayson came from Vegas. He had to quarantine for 2 weeks, regardless of what his test said. So he was tested negative, and he still had to quarantine. Now, if you go to the States, you got to do that too. And so it's like, well, what the hell? So my fear right now is like, man, I should just go and travel before this becomes that, hey, you have to stay in Canada. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, it's going to be you have to stay in Manitoba. Then you're going to have to stay in Winnipeg. Like, do you think it's going to get to that point?
I think it's. I don't think you can. It's not illegal to travel, right?
Yeah.
So people are traveling, and I think some people are. Again, it's the media that is going to put all of these things into our heads. Like you're going to have to quarantine. You're going to have to get all these tests. I promise you that there's people that are traveling. They're coming in. Like when a plane lands full of people, and maybe you don't have a test, or they ship you through. Like, what do you think they're doing? They're going to put you in jail? Like it's an honor system, really. Yeah. They're going to track you. They're going to call you. But at the end of the day, people are still doing it. So, I'll give you an example of the fear mongering that the media gives us. So, like to answer your question, I think you should travel. I personally think that you should. Yeah. I think everybody should travel right now because what a great time to see the world without tourists everywhere. Yeah. Can you imagine going to a place where there's usually millions of people and you have the whole place to yourself? And I know this happens because I watch travel YouTube videos and these travel bloggers are out there and they're literally standing in the middle of Thailand and they're like on the only boat on the ocean. Where usually there's 400 or 500 boats. So what were we just talking about? I went off on a tangent there.
The quarantine.
The quarantine.
Getting a test.
Yeah.
People are still doing it.
People are still doing it. I don't know. I can't remember what I was talking about.
But I'll tell you this.
Tell me something.
So what is the point, right? Yeah. So, okay. They want you to get a test 2 days or 3 days before you travel. So if I go to Mexico, I've got to get a test. It's got to show negative.
Yep.
And then I got to show it before I get on a plane. But what about those 48 hours where I wasn't negative? Like, what about right before the plane I got COVID? Yeah. What does that mean? So what is the point of that? It doesn't make any sense. I guess people are traveling and they got it, but
I think they're just throwing in so much shit against the wall, just trying to appease everybody.
See how it goes.
We're gonna make you quarantine. We're gonna make you get tests. We're gonna make you get another test.
Want to make you feel safe, but scary at the same time.
And then all the people that are watching news, like, more things. That's how you're gonna make it safe.
I'm really hoping that there's a switch in the message that's being put out there. I don't want this to get buried. I think that it needs to continue to be announced. It needs to be continued to market it, right? Like they're paying thousands of dollars for billboards, right? Like the government. So it's like, I want to see the same amount of effort and income invested in when things start to look better. I want you to put that message in people's heads because
to be healthy.
Not so much be healthy, that it's safe. Like you're okay to go out. Yeah. Like it's not a matter of like healthy. They're not trying to tell people not to work out, but they're trying to tell people that it's scary to go outside. And so if you scare people, like, it's like my kid, right? Like he's afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of? Yeah. Let's go walk in the dark. But if I go in the dark, oh, did you see that? And I do that every single minute. He's going to be terrified of the dark until he's old.
Fear-mongering.
Fear-mongering. And so I think that the message has to be flipped. So when they feel like it's some type of normality, they need to release that. They need to release just as much good as they do bad. And it's not just media. Like we only see like the negative things that are happening within the government. I don't watch a lot of it, but anytime I turn it on, it's the same. It's the same scare tactic method. And I think that there needs to be they need to show some ray of light.
Yeah. It's been put out there that from the WHO, the World Health Organization, and the CDC, it's been said several times that lockdowns don't work. Masks don't stop viruses. And they've made a lot of points that would counter all of the things that we hear. The problem is that those messages never get to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Because it's not a headline, right?
Yeah.
They want to keep us fearful, and that's just the reality of the news. It's the news cycle, and it's clickbait, and it's advertising, and that's just the reality of the world, man.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, what it does is it creates the COVID Karens, the ones who want to enforce these some rules, some imaginary rules, some rules that they create in their own mind. And it's unfortunate because people like us that are out there, working out, staying healthy, contributing to society, running business, paying taxes, paying employees.
Yeah.
Not only are we still always doing this because this is what we want to do, but now we have to navigate through the online shaming and all this other stuff that we have to do. So that's the only thing that really bothers me is I just feel like if you want to be the type of person who's fearful of everything, you stay home. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how the script should be flipped. If you're fearful, you stay home, let the rest of us participate in society. And then when you feel good, then you come out again.
Yeah.
So
let's sum it up in three sentences, Rick. What do you got? Three sentences right now. So what is going on currently with this thing? Like, so people are out of tune and they want to hear, okay, give me the brief update. It's January. What the hell's going on?
Brief update about what are we talking
What's going on? So number one for me is that it's not straight across the board. So what do I mean by that is that, and I'm not trying to play the fair game and this and that, but I mean, athletes are out there playing football, tackle football with each other, getting paid millions of dollars to do it. And because of their COVID testing protocols, they're allowed to do whatever they want to do, right? But if we get a test here, we still have to quarantine for 4 weeks. Like I've seen these guys get COVID, then all of a sudden they're on the field in 2 days because they tested negative. So number one, there's no consistency around the world, right? Some, like Vancouver, is completely open, right? Costa Rica, I have a friend there. He's working out in the gym, no masks. You know what I mean? Like you go down to the States, like they all have different restrictions. So number one, there's just no consistency. Number two, I feel like they're going to start to really they're going to start to chokehold on things that we really enjoy that were very easy, right? Such as traveling. Like traveling now is difficult to me, right? I got to go get a test. Like it was already hard enough with kids. Now it's like, okay, so now you got to go get a test and you got to wear a mask for 3 hours. Like I couldn't imagine being on a 16-hour flight to China now with the mask on, like full time. So I don't know how that's going to work. So there's going to be some type of like drop in travel and this is going to, like, airlines don't just shut down. Like that's billions of dollars. So it's going to be a hard time for them to restore that.
Well, I was telling you off camera there that Air Transat is one of those big providers that take people to all-inclusive trips. They stopped flying out of Toronto. Toronto, that's a big hub.
That's a huge
hub.
So
I think they're keeping it out of Calgary and Montreal for the time being. But as far as traveling, did you hear about that? It was happened about a month or two ago where they kicked a mom or a parent, two parents and their 2 kids off because the 2-year-old wouldn't wear a mask.
Oh God!
Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, it was all over the social media.
My kid would never wear a mask.
Exactly. So what are you going to do when that happens? Right? You're going to start kicking kids off because they don't wear masks. Like it's just insanity. As far as who should be wearing a mask, I think we should be working on regional closures as opposed to world closures, city closures. Like right now, I feel like a lot of the older folks' homes, they're the ones that are getting hit with it really hard. You lock them down, right? If northern Manitoba is getting hit real hard, you lock it down. Winnipeg's not doing so bad, open it back up. I don't think you can blanket this anymore. I think it has to be looked at more specifically. And as far as the entertainment, the hockey, here's the way I look at it. As long as people are entertained, then they don't get too pissed off. So they're going to let us watch. Sports. Because as long as we have that, then we don't get too upset.
Okay.
And last thing you want is people with nothing to do, because that's when they're going to start.
So it's like if you close a liquor mart.
Close a liquor mart. You got it. Can you imagine? Don't even get me started on that. You want to tell me, you want to talk about health, and you want to talk about somewhere where I think COVID could spread dramatically. You take it in there where everybody's touching their little bottles of booze, where you're drinking more and more, and you're putting that poison into your body. And yes, I'm a big opponent of booze. I'm a big proponent of not drinking alcohol, and I know that rubs people the wrong way. But if you want to level up your life, if you want to be healthy, stop drinking the booze. So
I actually
why is that open?
I got a question. So what would the world be like if they shut down everything but healthy places. So for instance,
Great question.
you go to the grocery store, all that's available is unprocessed food, vegetables, fruits, water, right? No pop, no artificial sweeteners, none of that stuff. So you go to the grocery store, that's your only options. The only stores that you can buy from are selling gym attire, and the only places where you can go for entertainment are fitness facilities.
Is this heaven? Is this heaven?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's what would happen. Number one, we would have hospital closures.
Oh, would hospitals turn into gyms?
Well, possibly. I mean, you wouldn't have so many people. Like,
would we have nurses, or would they be trainers?
Great question.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, right now you'd have reactionary. Right now we have reactionary healthcare workers, where we'd have preventative healthcare workers, like it was what we are now.
True.
So let's just say that we have a McDonald's free world. We have an alcohol free world. First people are going to say, well, you only live once. I want to eat my burger and I want to get lit up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's just say you can't, though. That's a great question.
Yeah.
So we're not going to. We're not going to have as many hospitals anymore.
Yeah.
We're not going to have as big a police force anymore, because you're not going to have people that are angry and drinking. Because I'll tell you this. A lot of the problems in the world comes from drunk people. Fighting, DUIs. You want to talk about people in jail? Most of them are there because of DUIs. Talk about food. You want to, like, we know that the biggest problem in the world now is heart disease, obesity, diabetes.
Yeah.
What do you think that all comes from? Shit food. So if you solve the top 3 things that are killing people, you're going to have a really healthy population. You're going to have a much more engaging population. We're going to have innovators. You're going to have people that are using more of their brains, because it's not going to be toxified and foggy. Like, I think our world would advance 300 years. We would already know who our alien neighbors are.
So what they need to do is they need to now make those junk food and unhealthy habits, they need to make them justify why they're essential. Why is that burger and greasy fries essential versus that chicken breast and lettuce?
Why is not a sweat session essential? Why is not water essential? Why is not, and everybody knows this, like, but it's because it's, bad food is addictive. It's just like any other drug. Once you're addicted to it, you justify doing it. Everybody knows that chips and sugar and Pepsi isn't good for you. And if you don't know this, then you've been living with your head up your ass for far too long. It's not good for you. But we like it. It tastes good. Right. The only problem is that we should enjoy it once in a while, not all the time. But can you imagine if we ate 99% healthy? Man, we would be an amazing race. You know what I mean? Like,
so the other day, I was sitting at home and we're doing this 21-day challenge, right? And my version of clean eating is to not overeat. I'm not a don't do it at all type of thing. There's things that I don't drink, and you know what I mean? Those are the things I don't do. That's by choice. But if I were to drink, I would say, if you're going to have a drink, Rick, have the 1 or 2 drinks that you tell yourself that you're going to do, and then stop right there. Now, the same thing that comes with the food. So the other day, I sat down and I had a little bit of dip left and pita chips. I ate as much pita chips as I had dip for, but I had the bag out, right? And next thing you know, I just ate like 20 or 30 more chips after that. Dude, I couldn't sleep. I woke up and I felt so bloated and fat, and I was not happy with my progress. And it's funny because what do they say? A minute on the lips is forever on the hips, right? So what I want to do is I want to help people simplify clean eating, because honestly, like, this is a battle that I've had for so long. Like, I'm not a guy who likes meal plans. I'm just not a meal plan follower, right? I don't like to overcomplicate the way I eat, because as soon as you overcomplicate something that you're constantly doing, it then becomes a chore, and you're going to default to the easy.
Always,
right? And so I want to help our audience right now, Rick. So what is clean eating to you? Let's just start there. What is clean eating to you?
Well, I agree with you 100% as far as portion control. You can enjoy some of the, I guess I'll call them good foods, the tasty foods. But you know what? Clean eating is. It's about taking some responsibility about learning how to cook, how to prepare food. One of the things that I've been doing is actually taking the responsibility or the role for cooking for myself. Jen used to always do the meal prepping, so we would prep 3-4 meals, maybe 2-3 days in advance. I don't do that anymore. I cook fresh. I take the time, and that's just part of my day is to make fresh food. So we all know chicken breast and broccoli, barf, right? Shoot me.
Yeah.
But if you eat it fresh, if you could take it right out of that out of the frying pan or the oven, and then you have it with fresh rice and some vegetables, maybe a little bit of butter, it's not that bad. So healthy eating, I feel like it's you stick down to the basic fundamentals, which is number one, water. Like, don't drink your calories would be one of the things that I do. Learn how to fast, and fasting can mean a lot of things, but rule of thumb would say, like, don't eat breakfast. Wait until noon. And why I say do that is just to give yourself a chance to not feel bloated. Like, let your body feel empty for a minute. Because we all know, and I've been guilty of this before, is that you're always eating, mindless eating, right? So you always feel full, you always feel your love handles hanging over your belt. Just try and power through and feel how good it feels after that. And then as far as the other, keeping it basic, would be vegetables. Like, try to eat one salad a day. Just force that one salad a day.
It's interesting. So it's an interesting finding. If you actually, a couple of things, three big things. Okay, and again, I'm all about keeping it simple. Number one, track how many steps you're taking, because the average person. For instance, I was having a discussion with a woman, and on Monday. Was it Monday or Sunday? When was it really? Oh, Saturday. Saturday is when they reopened the malls. And Saturday, Sunday, I would say the roads were pretty bad. And so I wanted to find out how many more accidents happened on the weekend because everything reopened. So now what you're doing is you're taking a bunch of people that haven't left their house, haven't driven, and then now you're creating people that don't have the, you know what I mean? Like the skills anymore, right? It's like, you know how to drive, but there's certain skills for Winnipeg driving. And so you don't have those skills, and then you put a bunch of people on the road that are like that. And so my suggestion for everybody is to track the amount of steps. The average person does under 2,000 steps a day.
I know, that's crazy.
2,000 steps a day. I was having a conversation with a woman, and she said that she hadn't left her house since Friday. It was Wednesday. Haven't left her house. She's working from home. So that means that she's going from her office, which is probably in the living room or dining room or somewhere in that room, right? Like, most people actually don't have a dedicated office because they've all been converted into bedrooms, right? People are utilizing that. All of a sudden, you got to work from home. Well, where am I going to go? Well, living room, dining room, right? So they're going from the living room, dining room, then they're transitioning to the kitchen where they grab their food and then they go to the couch. So that literally is under like 200 steps in a day. The average person when they work is around 2,000. Now imagine you decrease they don't need to leave their house anymore. So steps is number one. Get moving more. Simply get more steps. 10,000 is the goal. Then number two is track your water, because you're going to be shocked of how little water you're drinking. Nobody I know is over drinking water. And in fact, actually, the other day I said, okay, I drank way too much water because I was so full. I was so bloated, and I was like, I can't eat any food.
But let me stop you there. What's a good way to track your water? I'll give you an example how I do. You tell me how you do.
Okay.
So I have 4 of these bottles. And what I do is I fill them up in the morning. And throughout the day, I drink them. And when I drink 4 of them, and usually by the end of the day, I'm on my last one. And then I'll fill up one more towards, like, say 9 o'clock, because I like to have it by my bed with ice cold water, just so that, in case I get dry at night. So that's how I do my water. What would be a good system that somebody could implement to ensure that they remember to drink water?
Number one, everybody should be drinking at least 500 mLs as soon as you get up. You just went anywhere from 5 to 8 hours of zero fluids.
So what is that, a glass? What is that?
So 2 glasses.
2 glasses.
2 glasses, like, a little water container like that would be the minimum that I would tell you to chug. I chug a liter, right? It's just something that I've actually had to build myself up to. It's not easy.
It's gross.
It's gross.
The worst thing to do is chug.
It's gross, but honestly, it's so easy for me. So for me now, 1 liter of water, it's down, right? And I'll tell you this, like, when I put the water in me, my body's flushing. And it's like everything is out of my system quick because it's metabolizing, it's moving, it's like an ocean, a stale water. You don't want stale water. You want body of movement, right? Because you want to constantly be having everything. So that's the same thing with your internal organs. So number one, drink a liter of water. The easiest way after that is I use the the rubber band method. So I put a rubber band around my water bottle, and I always aim for a minimum of 4 liters. That's me. Everybody else probably 3.
That's a good method.
Yeah. So every time you slide one of these up, it says that you drank one of the water bottles. Okay. And then so then number 3, so we got move more, walk more, and then again, I'm with you with the fasting, is that you need to take your meals and you need to compress them into a shorter period of time. The average person, so I'm not talking about crazy Fit Club members, okay? I'm talking about the average person only needs anywhere from 1,200 to maybe 1,800 calories. And, you know, all you other fitness gurus out there can quote me on that. And I'll tell you, if we did an analysis on the average person that's getting the 200 steps a day working from home, they're burning very little calories and they have very little muscle mass. And so they require less calories than the average Fit Club member. And I would tell you that you need to take your meals and you need to condense them. So if you have a dinner, let's say you're having spaghetti, pasta, and you know, a couple pieces of garlic toast, do it. But that's all you get.
Yeah.
Right? And I would tell you, like you said, infuse some vegetables. So take your giant plate that you normally do and separate it into 3 meals. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Like if you're not making money, don't be spending money.
Yeah.
If you're not burning calories, don't be eating calories. It's just a simple math.
So here, that's a good point. I like that. Here's the challenge, and I'm going to give you the challenge. I'll give you the solution.
Okay.
So what happens is people were so accustomed to whenever we want a little snack, we just go get a little snack, right? Because you know, well, whatever, and those calories add up. That's your 1,000 calories.
Oh, easy.
That's your calorie surplus. That's the reason why you're always carrying a little bit of extra body fat.
Yeah.
If you can power through, and so you're going to have to set yourself a challenge, figure this out. Organize your meals, and again, don't keep it simple. Day 1, you're going to go to bed. Your last meal is going to be 7 o'clock.
Okay.
It's going to suck dealing with that 8, 9, 10 o'clock period when you're like, oh my God, I would love to have something while I'm watching this show. You know what I mean? Just get through that first one.
Yeah.
And then the next one, and I promise you by the time when you wake up in the morning and your bloat is going to go on and you're going to be like, oh, that actually worked. That actually feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it one more time. It gets a little bit easier. And then the third night that you do, or the second night you're going to do it again, but on the third morning you wake up, all of a sudden you're going to look a little bit different, and you're going to feel a little bit better. That internal motivation, and if you can get through the first 72 hours of not eating late at night, I promise you, things will happen to your body so fast that you will be very motivated to do it again. You know,
Well, what's one of the biggest complaints that people have is they're tired. They have no energy. We have no energy because you've just watched 5 episodes of This Is Us. You know what I mean? Like,
you're emotionally drained.
If you stopped eating at 7, go to bed at 9. It's not that ridiculous. Go to bed at 9. Get your full 8 hours of sleep. Right? Arnold says sleep faster. That's what he says. If you want to get sleep, you sleep faster. Well, here's the thing: is like, what are you doing past 9 anyways? Like, you don't need that. Well, how does that show improve your life? You know, okay, realtors, I get it, right? Like, yeah, you're working late, you're closing a deal, you're making thousands of bucks. Okay, we'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, does that really matter? Because I know a lot of realtors that are putting their finances and their fame above their fitness, and they're not happy with that element of their aspect, so they bury.
Well, they have to be locked to the job. There's certain jobs where you have to be on call 24/7.
Yeah,
you know, which is unfortunate because at the end of the day, you should put up some boundaries with your clients.
100%,
you know, I mean, who is anybody to call a real estate agent at 11 o'clock at night and be like, I want to see a house that's 5 in the morning? Like, what? What are you talking about?
Well, there's people that are out there, and the thing about, and like what you said, is you got to set boundaries because. And I'll give you a perfect example. I love getting questions from clients. Like, honestly, I take every question serious, and 90% of the time I'm going to ask them to post it in our groups because of the fact that this is the system that I can do it with you. Because otherwise, if I get hit with the question every second, if I don't do it in batches, then the problem is that I'm going to be doing that all day, and you're not going to see the good side of me.
Yeah, and everybody has the same questions, so you might as well just answer it one time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, did we answer the question as far as how do we keep it healthy?
Keep it healthy. Keep it simple.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we got through it. So we solved the Corona crisis.
Yeah.
We solved the health crisis.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Do you want to quickly?
You want to hit me with some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Rapid fire questions.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll keep them short. Let's keep them under 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So here we go.
Yeah.
What was a big mic drop moment for you? Mic drop moment.
Oh, man.
If you need time, I got one.
Go ahead.
All right. So before I opened up Fit Club and we were going to go into the mall here, I met with the lawyer just to kind of finalize my lease, and the guy called me stupid. He called me stupid. He says, what you're doing is unnecessary, and I can't work with you because of the fact that the decision that you're making is wrong. Well, fast forward to 5 years later, we got over 150, close to 200 active members with 6 months of lockdown, and the impact in the lives that we've changed just by opening.
Boom. Who is this person called you stupid?
A lawyer. I can't remember his name yet.
So the lawyer suggested that you not open a fitness facility. That's what he was calling you stupid for.
Yeah, and he refused to work with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think my mic drop was when I moved. I sold my North End home and walked away with a whole bunch of money.
Nice.
I had a lot of people always question me, saying, "Why would you live in the shittiest part of the world?"
Yeah.
Which might actually be the toughest neighborhood in all of Canada. It has been done, but you know what? I bought the house cheap. I spent my 2 decades there, and I rolled away with a pretty penny. So that would be my mic drop. I did it.
All right, next question.
Yep.
So, what is one childish thing that you still enjoy? Me, I love being a goof. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be as goofy, and the problem when I was a kid was that when I be a goof, I would lose friends. And now I don't really care. If I'm going to be a goof, you don't like it, don't be my friend. I don't give a damn. So I would say that's one of the childish things. If I'm going to be a goof, I'm going to be a goof. There's some days you'll see me in the chat and I'll be posting some funny stuff. And if I be a goof, you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah. This is going to sound weird, but I still like farting and laughing about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like I like farting and then putting a blanket over her head or something like that.
What is it about farting that just makes guys laugh? Like my kids will fart and they will laugh. And they're like 4 and 2. How is that funny at that age?
Well, I mean, the noise itself is funny.
Yeah.
The noise itself. But personally, this is going to totally be a dude versus chick thing.
Yeah.
It just feels good.
Yeah.
Like it feels really good to let that air out.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we discourage it in society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I was watching a kid show. It's actually Common Questions or something like this awesome show. And Jerome, get ready on that mic. I got a question for you next. So, so here's a little scientific fact. So I get Jet to watch these shows, and they teach you why eating gum is not good for you, and it's super educational, man.
Okay.
A silent fart is the one that's the stinkiest, okay, because it builds up some type of gas and whatever's happening in your stomach. But a loud fart happens because of the fact that you've been holding the fart.
Okay.
So it's your muscles that are contracting, causing vibrations.
Yeah.
So don't hold a fart.
You could even look at it as it could be almost orgasmic. If you think about it, let's say, a lot of people like to get a little something in the bum, right? A little finger in the bum. There's something in there that feels good. So can you imagine if you have all this air and it's kind of on the way out, little vibration on the way out?
Little tickle me Elmo action.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Jerome, here we go. You ready? Yeah. Here's the question. What is the one thing you would not do for $5 million? What is the one thing you would not do for $5 million? When I read that question, I was like, what is the one thing you would do what would you do for $5 million? I was like, everything. There's nothing I wouldn't really do for $5 million. So what is the one thing, Jerome, that you would not do for $5 million? I'll start it off. So for me, I wouldn't take it in the butt. I don't know, man. Just like the whole
for $5 million.
For $5 million, I don't know, man. It's just knowing in the back of your head that some guy rammed you in the ass. I don't know. I just don't know if I'd want that. So I think that's what's keeping me out of prison.
No, $5
But I don't know if I would take it. I would have to find some guys and man up. But I don't know, man. I just don't know if I would take it in the butt.
Well, if we're talking real talk here, I'd take it for $5 million. So let me ask you this: would you go to jail for 1 year for $5 million?
Would I go to jail for 1 year and not take it in the butt?
Okay, forget the anal part.
Okay,
just go to
forget
jail,
about the anal.
Lose your freedom
for $5 million.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about 5 years?
5 years, no.
No. Why not?
5 years is too long. By that time, I could have made that $5 million. You know what I mean? Like in 1 year, the amount of downtime that I would take and what I would do in those, like I'd come out jacked, I would come out smarter, I'd have 10 businesses ready to go, and I'd have a bunch of lynch mobs.
So you got a shot collar, you have wicked tattoos.
Yeah.
So 1 year, yes. 2 years,
no.
So
1 year is that's it for $5 million.
Jerome, would you go to jail for $5 million?
Yeah, I probably would. But
And look at it this way, Jerome. Look at it this way. So that $5 million goes into investments. It's creating passive income, which your family has access to while you're in prison.
Yeah.
So you're still taking care of the family.
yeah,
Would you
pretty
still
much.
do it?
Yeah, I'll still do it.
Okay, so for $5 million, would you do it for 2 years?
Yeah, man, because I'll make more money after that.
I got to say, my number would be 2 years.
2
I would
years?
do it for 2 years. Yeah.
2 years?
Yep.
2 years is long.
Yeah, I feel like the wife would stick around for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, the
2
mon-
years is probably the line where your wife would not leave you,
Yeah.
but I think 3, it's starting to question.
But the thing is that you still have hope because
Yeah.
you know in 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna work out. You're gonna
Yeah.
kill it. You're gonna do some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So this bid,
Good
I
question.
think 2 years is the length. So what is it, Jerome? What wouldn't you
Something
do
that I would-
for $5 million?
would not do.
Would
right?
you take it in the butt for 5?
Well, I'll take everything, right? Because you know what?
Just so
With that
everybody
5
knows,
million,
Jerome
yeah.
said yes.
With that 5 million,
Yeah.
I could do it everyone's butts.
No, you're not doing it. You're taking it.
I'm taking it. With that money,
Yeah.
I can pay someone to do it to them too.
There you go, Rick. You want a live sex doll? You got Jerome. $5 million bucks.
There's a guy. Let me ask you this. Okay, so the anal sex thing seems to be the go-to, right? Okay. So me and Jerome, we're down. You're not.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
not
for
down.
$5 million.
No, I'll give.
There
for,
is
for very cheap.
There's a guy on. What's that number?
I don't know. We'll see. You can just present the offer.
What is it?
Yeah, present that offer.
There's a guy on YouTube who jumps out of an airplane, lands in a net.
Okay.
Jumps out, no parachute.
Oh, God.
Lands in a net.
Wow.
So you can imagine this net is this giant thing.
Yeah.
But if you were trained, so let's just say you spent a year jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, you got real good at it.
Yeah.
For $5 million,
Yeah.
would you jump out without a parachute
Yes.
and land in a net?
I would.
Jerome?
If I've been training for it,
you get 1
I'm
year of
100%
training.
confident I can do it. And if not, I'll take that risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, that he is the only man that has ever done it. And
Yeah, that's insane. Who would even let that happen?
And he has been jumping for, I don't know, 2 decades, 23 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, 1 year, I don't know if that gets you prepared. And you got to remember,
1 year, 365 days, dude. I'll do it for 8 hours a day.
You're
minimum.
jumping out of a 10,000 and you know, it looks like an ant that you're landing in, right?
Yeah.
There's no, you don't get a parachute either. You don't get the
I'll be
secondary
fine.
parachute.
Jerome, would you?
No, man. I don't think. I think I'll die before I even get there.
Okay, here's another thing.
Rick, you would?
I would.
Yeah, okay.
100%. Only because that's an amazing thing to accomplish. So as long as I was getting like full training and I was allowed to do it,
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's all you did? 8 hours a day? Boom.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. What other question you got?
Okay.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
It's 12 o'clock. Let's end it.
Yeah. All right. So
Hold on, one more.
Last question. Let's see. Ooh, I don't know. I don't got it. You got a good one?
Actually, what's something that's really annoying to you that somebody does?
What's something that's really perfect question.
Yeah.
So the question here for my Instagram audience and everybody at YouTube. By the way, if you're tuning into YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Throw this a like and let us know that you're in here because this is an engagement chat. So something that annoys me that people do is bailing out. Like that's if certain people, I'll give you a couple passes, but as soon as you get in my books of like, this guy's a bailer, I don't know, man. I lose a lot of respect for you. I'm a very man of my word. Like today, I ran here in the minus 30-degree weather because I told my buddy yesterday I would do it, and he said he's going to do it too, and he's in BC, so he has it easier than me. But if I say I'm doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't do it, and you said you do it, you get a couple passes, and after that, I don't know, man. I lose a lot of respect, and it takes a lot of time for you to build that back up.
All right, don't be a bailer. We're going to end the podcast on that right there. That's a great little chat, RJ.